Police say 43-year-old Yvonne Hiller had grown angrier on the job over the past 2 years, fighting verbally and at times physically with fellow workers at the Kraft Foods plant, convinced those workers were out to get her.
She believed that they were spraying chemicals at her, that they were saying things about her behind her back, and things of that nature.
Cynthia Verbeff is moving. Her home, she says, has become a house of horrors.
I feel that I've lost my mind, I've lost my life.
Incident reports from law enforcement tell the tale. Numerous break-ins at the address. She's being targeted.
Everything. They just went through everything.
But sheriff's detectives had little to go on because the vandals, though often destructive, stole nothing. Even from her portable safe, drilled into and torn apart, the contents, the jewelry, remained untouched.
I'm proud to announce that January is officially Stalking Awareness Month, and that we're focusing on a crime that affects 3.4 million victims a year. Know it, name it, stop it. That's the national theme, and we echo it in Texas today.
A former Snohomish County Public Works employee was convicted in June of stalking a fellow female employee for nearly a year. Her victim, who asked Cairo 7 not to identify her, told the court Orozco was very calculated and very effective in destroying her career, her personal and family life, so much so that she's had to quit her job of 13 years and move out of the area. She is still fearful of Orozco. Judge Gerald Knight read the letters Orozco sent to the victim's young children to illustrate how evil her tactics were.
Sending letters to them, asking them, how does it feel to be your mother, who is a sick that doesn't have real and who's an alcoholic.
Besides the letters, Christina Orozco set up a website saying defamatory things about her victim and sent false sex offender notifications to neighbors, elected officials, and future employees, making the victim appear she was a convicted sex offender. Orozco's violated a restraining order, and now she's a convicted felon.
While not physically destroying and killing her, you did everything in your power to kill and destroy her name and reputation.
For the people who watch this, who don't know about the gang injunction, explain what it is.
Gang injunction is a civil court order that the city pursues against a known criminal enterprise. It's defined, the term gang is used, street gang is the state law, the name of it in state law. It's a law that was passed in the 1980s by the California legislature, was upheld as constitutional by the California Supreme Court in 1997. It is a civil order in the manner of a restraining order. It allows a city attorney or a district attorney to bring an injunction, again like a restraining order, against a group of individuals who have conspired to commit crimes and otherwise terrorize innocent people in a community.
About gang stalking, but it actually has nothing to do with the gangs that you first think of. Central Coast News reporter Candace Wynn learned more about the trend and how it's getting more dangerous because of the internet.
Richard said gang stalking is nothing new, but new technology is making it more common.
Gang stalking itself, they have elevated themselves to technology. So this is something that's been going on before the age of Facebook, Twitter, those other social websites. They just now have gone into those.
If found guilty of gang stalking, a person may face criminal, conspiracy, and stalking charges, all of which are felony charges in California.
There's nothing illegal about these. If you're a parent, you own the car and you want to spy on your teen. But we've uncovered a sinister side to these tracking devices. Stalkers are using them to spy on their exes. They're so small, if someone hid one in the trunk of your car, you'd probably never know it. Did you slip a little something on your girlfriend's gas tank?
No, I ain't got no comment.
The police Meet 20-year-old Raimundo Munoz. Prosecutors just charged the Kansas City man with violation of a protection order after his estranged girlfriend found a GPS tracking device hidden on her gas tank. The young woman says she became suspicious after Munoz threatened her, saying, quote, "Watch what you do because I know if you are lying."
So now you have offenders and abusers placing these items in gifts.
Sergeant Lionel Colon works in KCPD's domestic violence unit and says police across the country are starting to see similar cases. But the laws have been slow to catch up with technology. He says women should trust their instincts.
We're talking about gang stalking, but it actually has nothing to do with the gangs that you first think of. Central Coast News reporter Candace Wynn learned more about the trend and how it's getting more dangerous because of the internet.
He said for the last year and a half, he's been systematically followed by a group of people. At one point, he said they climbed on his roof to harass him.
That's the worst part of it. If it was me, I would take action.
Santa Cruz Police Lieutenant Larry Richards said police are becoming more aware of gang stalking because of cyberbullying.
Gang stalking itself, they have elevated themselves to technology. So this is something that's been going on before the age of Facebook, Twitter, those other social websites. They just now have gone into those.
If found guilty of gang stalking, a person may face criminal, conspiracy, and stalking charges, all of which are felony charges in California.
Antonio have contacted the I-team and described similar types of occurrences.
The urine arsenic is above normal. We shouldn't have arsenic.
Linda Johnson says someone poisoned her water supply with heavy metals in northwest San Antonio. Then there's her story about the bracelet that went missing, then reappeared. Police, she says, have stopped listening to her. And like Verbef, she too believes she's been sexually assaulted, although she never filed a police report.
I've gone to doctors many times, and I've been to the Rape Crisis Center for counseling, yes.
Many of these so-called victims of what Hall describes as gang stalking meet up on the internet, finding comfort and information from others who say they too suffer from electronic stalking, mind control, and even rape. Loosely defined, gang stalking is where organized groups target and harass unwilling victims to the point of paranoia, leaving the victims to deal with skeptical family members and skeptical law enforcement.
This isn't stalking done by a former spouse or former boyfriend or someone that you know that's just grumbled at you, but stalking that's being done by total strangers in an organized fashion.
That's where this device developed by Raytheon Company comes in. Sheriff officials will mount it on a wall in a jail dorm, housing some 650 inmates for the next 6. The first of its kind device is controlled by a deputy who looks through a monitor and with a joystick points at a target and zaps. To show its effects, I got zapped. The burning sensation is similar to putting your hand over fire and leaving it there until it gets too hot and you snatch it away. The beam or wave can hit a target up to 85 feet away. Pitches is the first correctional facility in the nation to test the device.
The covert crimes, the family says, include intense microwave radiation aimed at the house. That explains the metal panels.
I would say that since we've put that, we've noticed the temperature difference in our house go down, noticed our health improve.
The D'Souza family includes 2 college-educated young women who say scientific instruments prove they are under attack.
The trajectories we've tracked, it's been coming from the neighbors. First, you're skeptical, but we've tracked our health the temperature in the home. We've had blankets that are supposed to reflect microwave radiation
as a shield
and
to
radar. They're radar
against radiation
material, and microwave radiation is reflected off of aluminum, so it's a protective measure.
Today, the D'Souza family tried to explain to us why they did it with binders of data and electronic measuring devices, which they prove their neighbors are bombarding them with microwaves and other kinds of radiation.
If people can imagine one night that they couldn't sleep well and they woke up totally just exhausted, that's what we were experiencing every day.
The father says since 9/11, his family has become a target because he is originally from Pakistan.
And to be treated like this, like I'm a non-citizen.
I never go out without one of my friends following me. There goes another one. There's another one. If I told you that every time I go out there are helicopters over my head, you'd think I was paranoid, right? Taking a picture of you, taking a picture of me. The one on the right-hand side of the screen just flashed before I started filming it. So like a little light go, kind of like that. And we've got more of them over there. Now somebody might say that this has to do with security, but I'll tell you what, security hasn't been any more or any less since those cameras have been there. Only difference is that when I walked by before they were there, little lights didn't go. That's the whole difference. Did you see it flash just now? Yeah, there you go. I told you it flashes. I told you it does. That's the one that's facing right toward me. See, the other ones are facing like on a 45-degree angle sort of to that. That one is right on me. And looking through the camera, I see some sort of like oscillation of little bitsies in there. Thing's looking right at me. It's probably pointing microwaves at me too. What the hell? You only live once. The thing that a person needs to do when you get into this line of investigation is you gotta like develop a healthy attitude and a good sense of humor about death and torture. I just asked one of the bus drivers what these things are. He says, to be their life. What do you think? Well, if they're light, then how come they don't light? Oh, it's flashed at me again. Maybe they are lights after all, sort of. Check these stuff out. I mean, they keep flashing. Sometimes you see like a light running across it, sort of, as though it's a screen. Sometimes it just flashes. There it goes flashing. Before, like a light ran across it from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen. Taking pictures of you, taking pictures of me. You know, once upon a time, before digital cameras and before the internet, when people claimed that these things existed, they had absolutely no proof, and they put them away. People would say, you know, walking down the street and these like lights are flashing at me, or, you know, there are hidden antennas or all kinds of things, and they put people away. Brilliant, wonderful people like John Nash. But today, we've got proof. Because my delusions don't come out on film. And when I say that a light flashes at me, and you see it flash, you know it's real.
Canada need to wake the fuck up, okay? This is what I'm saying. Now, you tell me, when a fat fucking helicopter hovers that fucking close, that low, takes a photograph and leaves, what is that? And you can throw up as many doctors as you want. It's not going to do you any good, okay? Now, I hope people, like, I've explained this at my blogger and at consend.org. You have to understand that just because someone says a helicopter hovered over their home with the guy in a helicopter hanging out of it with a camera, doesn't mean he's fucking nuts, okay? It could be fucking true. Especially when you throw in all the things that have gone on in his life, okay? The phone calls he's made and the inquiries he's made into the government. And you need to understand this. That yes, gang stalking is real and true, and this is what they do to people who speak out, okay? Remember that.
I realized the cyclist was sitting at the corner. I actually discovered him after I zoomed in. As the ladies approach the corner, there's no indication that they know the guy until they get close to him. Watch as a blonde woman walks toward him, and obviously he says something to her, and she turns around and looks in my direction. The blonde woman points at me. Watch now as the guy on the bike signals someone else. He looks at his wrist as though looking at the time, then turns his palms upward as if to say, I don't know what's going on. This is just before a cyclist and a car come by. Certain behaviors are repeated in order to let the victim know that something is happening. In my case, cars, cyclists, and pedestrians are used when I leave the house and also when I'm coming back to the house.
For the past 20 years, my wife Evie and I have been the victims of criminal activities perpetrated by a small network of individuals who are out to destroy us personally, professionally, and financially. This network of individuals is manipulating the banking system and the criminal justice system for the purposes of sabotaging our credit and our credibility. We did not defraud an innkeeper, and we did not trespass on our own property. Up until a year ago, Evie and I had never had any run-in with the law whatsoever. We are not criminals, nor are we fugitives from justice, nor are we crazy. We are simply artists and filmmakers who are being racketeered on.